Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Weisman Unified School District Board meeting for January 16th, 2025. I'd like to go ahead and call this meeting to order at 6:03. Wendy, would you please go ahead and take roll call?
Dr. Goldman,
I am here.
Miss Kathy,
Present.
Miss Legaspi,
Present.
Mr. Martinez,
Present.
Mr. Ben Williams.
Present. Thank you, Wendy. Mr. DeSiria, would
How are
you
you?
do us the pleasure of leading us in the flag salute?
All right.
Put your right hand over your heart. Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Right. Earlier this evening, we did have a closed session and the board did take one action item that I'd like to go ahead and report out in terms of the action. The board took action today to approve an amendment to settlement agreement originally approved on November 21st, 2024 in matter 2024-2025 item B. The motion was made by board member Rebecca Hamburg-Cappy and seconded by board member Neil Goldman, with 5 votes in favor and 0 votes against. Okay. Going to go ahead and take a motion to adopt the agenda on item 4.1.
Second.
Okay, I would like to make a suggestion here. If we can move actually the item 7.2, which is school site update presentation, to be ahead of the special presentation for Vaughn, so our students and Dr. DeSiria Andy can go first. Would that be okay by the rest of the board?
Yeah.
Yes.
Fantastic. All those in favor?
Aye.
Right. Wendy, do we have any comments from the public on items on the agenda?
Not have any public comment.
Hearing none, we're gonna go ahead and move into our special presentations, and I'll start, Blake, if you'd like to open for our presentation with Andy DeSiria.
Sure, I'm gonna just say a few words. I think I'm gonna turn it over to Maggie to maybe share it too as well. I just wanna say, like, you wanna see joy in schools, you go to Mr. D's classroom. And I mean that, gosh, 15 years, Mr. D probably, whether it's PLTW, whether it was math, whether it's social studies, whether it's STEM themes or elementary kids. I mean, just the level of energy and enthusiasm that Andy brings to the work he does at the thing. It's remarkable to be as contagious. And so I just want to say that, you want a happy moment, go watch any activity that you're doing work, but really just what he fostered with the kids, that we see the ability for our students to solve problems, to find excitement, joy in what they're doing, really is unmatched. So I always get some help prepared. I just have not.
With along the same lines, and not just that passion at his own school, but like bringing it down even to the elementary schools. Building programming outside of your school as a teacher is really difficult to do, and that's not going to stop Andy from doing any of this. In our elementaries, with the goal of being able to build a robot, every child building a robot is still in play right now this school year, and he's right on board with the staff that he's created and the repertoire that he's created with them to reach that goal. And so I'm going to hand the floor over to you and your amazing kids that come here and showcase that tonight.
Thanks, guys. Thank you so much.
So Superintendent Silvers, Dr. Silvers, board president, board members, community staff, students, thank you so much for the opportunity. So we are on our second year of our program, and I would like to give a program update. So these pictures you're looking at are our elementary program. We have an incredible staff at the elementary level. Alyssa, Katie, and now Adrian is new to our program, but they do a lot of preparation for this program on a daily basis. And I'm so proud to work with them and to usher in this program for the students. So we're going to talk about the update that we have so far. Thanks. Oh, I'm sorry. Got it right here.
Either way.
Okay, thanks. So,
It's good. You can.
okay. Oh, let me back up. Sorry.
There's a little-
Okay, there it is. There it is. So our goals, I just want to review our goals. So every student in TK5 will build and program a robot in 2024, 2025, I should say. Provide opportunities for WSD students to choose STEM college and career pathways is our goal. And new this year is our sixth grade students all will take a computer science course. And that's part of the assembly bill that was updated this year. Okay. Let's see. So let's start with the why. So basically, according to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, projects employment in STEM fields will grow 5 times faster than non-STEM fields. So that's one reason. And you can read through all these, but I just want to highlight the big one is that computer science now, we have 43,000. Is there an updated one? Or, you know what? Does it update automatically or did you PDF it?
I can get the updated.
Oh, sorry. I added some more things on there. So basically, what I want to tell you is that according to the 2003 report from the California Department of Education, we have basically 45,000 unfilled computer science jobs. And of those computer science jobs, we only have 9,000 students that graduated with computer science degrees in the state of California. So we have a gap there of like 38,000 students or jobs that are unfilled. And the average pay for those jobs is $153,000. So it's just another reason why we should offer computer science. So Mrs. Clark came to me and she said, basically last year, we need to start a computer science class. And I said, okay, so what does that mean? She said, well, I'll go find your curriculum, figure out what you want to do, and then we're going to offer it to every sixth grade in the school. So we started it with Khan Academy. So kids take every sixth grade kid takes 9 weeks of the wheel. And so we have Khan Academy for 2 weeks, a computer science class, and it's all kind of in the can. It's, one of my things is like, why recreate the wheel when it's already there? If we have something that's good and we know Khan Academy works and it's effective, let's use their program. So, and then the other thing we're doing is we're doing a CAD program. So every kid in the sixth grade now does CAD. They do the Autodesk Inventor program and they do 9 weeks of that. So, yeah, so that's why we're doing it. So that's the bullet down towards the bottom. And then the other thing is that we're unique in what, Weisburn is a unique place. And we have these STEM pathways. We have all of this opportunity to feed our kids into a program that is really robust at the high school level. So we need to figure out how to fill those gaps. And we didn't have a computer science program to speak of that was intended for all students. So now we have that. So you can see like I forgot the assembly bill number, but it's an assembly bill that was passed just last year in February of 2024. So success, news, and upcoming events. So last year, the red stuff is last year. So we had 3 hackathons with Northrop Grumman Aerospace. We had 45 students apply to Herndon team. Our Wiseman Middle School program was the only school at the aerospace competition to field 2 competition teams. And I'm proud, the kids are going to tell you a little bit about their project, but I'm really proud of them. They scored 3rd place. And so we're continuing our success. Right now we have 13 out of 14 years of placing 1st or 2nd or 3rd. So we're in good shape. 50% of our Wiseman completed, 50% of the 6th graders already completed the computer science as of this week. And we have 100% of those kids are taking and passing the computer science test. So the only kid that didn't pass, to be honest, was absent and couldn't make it up. But, we figured out a way to do it after the fact. So we're on a good track. I want you to meet the top picture on the right, Dylan. He's our newest Autodesk CAD rising star. Dylan, he's not here, but I just wanted to highlight him because Dylan, the record for all, I think one year, like 7 years ago, I had a CAD competition right here in the boardroom. And the record was like 4 minutes and 50 seconds at the time. Now the record is like 2 minutes and 50 seconds for any kid. They can finish all the projects in 2 minutes and 50 seconds. And Dylan steps up in 6th grade and he goes and gets a 4 minute and 30 second time rating. I'm like, Dylan, did you do that all yourself? Let me see. And he's like, I can do it again. And he did it again. And he was like within 2 seconds of his first time slot. So I'm really proud of that, that the kids are excited about the program. And then down on the bottom, Monty, who's here with us right now, Monty's our SME. He's our subject matter expert in the area of 3D printing. So in the area of 3D printing. So Monty basically went into the lab and he said, well, Mr. D, I have 3D printer at home. And I said, okay, Monty. So we've been getting donations of 3D printers. And what did Monty do? He got it up and running the very first day. And they were not working. So the person that donated to us said, I have these 3D printers, but they don't work. And so he said, do you want them? And I said, sure, I'll take them. And Monty got them up and running on day 1. So we're in good shape. So I just want to let you know that,
With cars and awesome.
exactly. So I feel like if you give a kid a project, they have so much time, they just take care of it. So Monty and his mom and his mom is here as well. We just had a conversation outside and he's like, Mr. D, how about next semester? Could I be a TA? Because he's supposed to go into another class. So we're going to look into finding out whether or not we can use Monty as a TA in our next class. In terms of success at the elementary sites, 100% of our kids built and programmed a robot last year. So we did it. I talked to you guys about that last year, but we did it with a group of talented staff members over at the elementary site. They are our program. I just want to stress and emphasize how much I appreciate those 3 people. We have a new person on board, and I'm really optimistic about his contributions as well. We got a Northrop Grumman grant last year from Wolf Trap, and that's the Wolf Trap program is a creative dramatics program, and they did this creative dramatics in STEM. So they taught all the elementary kindergartner kids at Del Air kind of through creative dramatics STEM concepts, which was really cool. And then this year, all Del Air 5th grade students have already successfully built and programmed a robot. 4th grade is underway. Aviation, we have the new hire. So we just got him on board just before the break. And he is scheduled to begin building and programming robots in January in this, in the next couple weeks here. Holly Glen 6th, 2nd graders are scheduled to build and program a robot in February. So they're already on board. And we're fully staffed, and our newest member is Adrian. So that's what we have so far. Now I'm going to bring up our competition team, our Herndon team, and they have just a very brief presentation. They're going to give you a summary of what they were working on. Guys, you want to come up now? Who's going to go first? You are? Okay. This is Ethan. Ethan, step up here.
Hello, my name's Ethan, and the title of our project last year was, is it miracle soil or does synthetic growers mix degrade soil quality? So research has shown that soil and waterways is degraded by chemicals upstream. So soil degradation can lead to things like famine and even economic collapse.
To understand soil degradation, we grew grass in polluted soil from a local creek and in growers mix, which contains synthetic fertilizers. And we also grew grass in the same 2 soils that were actually filtered using distilled water and activated carbon.
I'm Jacob, and we hypothesized that if we treat soil found in Bologna Creek, a 130-mile-long waterway fed by runoff from the Los Angeles basin, with 14 grams of activated carbon, along with 1 gallon of distilled water, then the NPK, nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium levels will remain the same, but the harmful contaminants will be flushed out of the soil, and the grass will grow as well as the growers mix.
Hi, I'm Oscar. I'll be reporting our conclusions. To conclude, our experiment shows that popular growers mix fertilizers contain synthetic material and chemicals that negatively impact our environment. We learned many people, including homeowners and farmers, use these popular synthetic materials, and we learned that it negatively affects our environment.
Hello, I'm Winston. and I'll be explaining the Herndon team experience. There was 45 applicants, and 2 teams of 5 were selected. We worked after school and on weekends, totaling about 100 hours. We did our testing at Bologna Creek, and the competition was held at Aerospace.
So I just gave you a brief overview of the program. So this team really worked hard, and they built a robot that actually took sample testing. It wasn't effective, but it was part of their experience, and they got a lot of information and learning from it. And then they basically did a fantastic job at presentation. Like they have to do 2 rounds, and pretty much every time they knocked it out of the park. And I was super proud of those guys. So to get a 3rd place finish is always amazing for us. So I'm very proud of them. So I just want to thank you all. So so there's 1 student who's returning. Oscar is an 8th grader this year, but these 4 are all part of robotics team. So you 3 are on FRC, and then you're on FTC, right? Winston's on FTC, so they're continuing the mission. So hopefully they'll be engineers in 4 years, 5 years. Yeah, thanks so much.
Thank you, Andy. Thank you. And to all the members that participated. Earlier this morning, actually, Nelson and I had an opportunity to attend an industry event called Spotlight. There were 6 different school districts in attendance presenting on topics, but there's also about 80 to 100 business professionals, and they polled the room and asked, from the industry perspective, what is one of the most important things that we as educators should know so we can prepare our students to enter the industry for when they graduate and they choose careers. The overwhelming thing that came out of that from all pretty much across the board, all industry partners, was the ability to present and to communicate their findings. Oftentimes things are incredibly complicated, as what you just presented in terms of your experiments from an engineering standpoint. But having that ability to present it to other people and share what your findings are is equally as important to get people behind you. So congratulations on your presentations and what you've done. You're doing great work, and I really appreciate your presentation. Thank you so much. Thank you. Any other comments from our board?
Great work. Keep it up. Keep
Yeah.
the passion.
I'm really excited to see that the program's continuing and growing this year, Mr. D. And I know that the 6th grader, I can think of a particular 6th grader who hasn't gone through the computer science class yet, who's going to be looking to try and best that Dylan score. But I think it's great that there's an opportunity for them to learn it. I come from a family of computer scientists. My mom, my sister, my uncle, all are in the field. So I know that it's an important one. So I'm really excited that our schools are gonna, and our students are gonna get the opportunity to start early and learn those critical skills as we develop. And congratulations again to the Herndon team on your 3rd place finish. That was really great. And Monty, I can't wait to see what you built with the 3D printer. So make sure you bring that.
What's the main focus right now for Principal Clark?
To deliver, basically to deliver a note to her.
So they're all building robots, and they're going to deliver a message to Principal Clark that says, "Congratulations on the birth of your baby." So they're programming and building these robots that have these eggs that are 3D printed, and they open up, and then the message is inside of there. So
That's awesome.
it's happening.
Can't wait to see it.
Yeah.
So, way to go. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Thank you very
guys.
much. You're welcome to stay for the rest of our meeting. We have a fantastic update here on board policy. Welcome to stay and join us, but you're also welcome to leave if you need to. Thank you so much for your presentation.
Thanks, guys.
Blake, I'll turn it back to you. Next presentation.
So we are excited to be able to bring back to the board a presentation on our facilities. This is bond program. It's kind of wild to imagine. It's bond program update number 14. So that means what, about 36 hours of presentation?
It only feels like 21, Blake. I don't know.
Yeah, but no, I do want to say, this is kind of a mid system presentation, meaning we wouldn't typically present it here, but there are some updates that we need to provide to the board, particularly as it relates to our shift to the flooring and ceiling tile upgrade, FF&E upgrades, as well as talking about the culmination of our technology network infrastructure upgrade that is almost done. Et cetera. So anyway, just without further ado, definitely really appreciative of the NAZ team and their dedication.
Welcome.
Good evening, board. Good evening, cabinet, those in attendance and those joining virtually. I'm very happy to bring to you this evening our bond program update number 14, as Blake alluded to. Do I have control here?
You do, but if you want to say next slide, I can do it as well.
Okay, you can do next
Where's
slide, that'd be
the-
great.
It's
So the agenda for this evening, as we will be giving you some project updates, we will be discussing the district-wide flooring and ceiling tiles refresh project. Next slide. Getting right into our network infrastructure project. I know we've been discussing this project. I am very happy to report that as of the end of this week, all hardware will be installed. So we will be moving into software updates, troubleshooting, and field verifications. So conducting our punch list. From there will be some ongoing work to conclude everything and make sure that everything is working to the satisfaction of the district as per our plans. I don't know if there's any other questions on the project that I can answer.
Just say shout out to Tony and the team for their work. We were all on break. You weren't. Thank you.
Yeah, there's a lot of people that have been working on this project. Tony, NWN, Veritas, Cisco. So there's a lot of people that need to be thanked for this project. It has been a lot of work, but our goal was I know we've had several meetings where the date has kept getting pushed out. So I'm very happy to come back and say that we are going to be completing on time for our schedule and then transitioning into our punch list work and figuring out software and making sure that everything aligns properly for the district. So one of those components, when we're doing our field verifications, we're going to be looking at all the cameras. We're going to be counting and ensuring that all equipment that was per the bill of materials is in fact been delivered and installed. We will also be looking at alignments of the cameras, the quality of the cameras, making sure pictures are clear. So that's part of the next stage of the project.
I'd just like to thank you and the entire NAZ team for this project because it's incredibly complicated and extensive in terms of being district-wide. You pretty much touched every area of the district in terms of classrooms and spaces. So thank you for your due diligence in delivering this project. Thank you.
You're welcome. And then phase 2, we are in progress on phase 2. Our intention is to start that project, door access controls, this coming summer. The architect of record on the projects are planning their DSA submittal for the majority of the sites February. So with DSA, until it's submitted and we get a potential review and comments back, that may be potentially a delay. But until we hear back from DSA, it still is our plan and our goal to start on that project this summer.
It's just an ADA review, right?
Correct.
Substantial completion is 26, correct?
For the overall, no, our goal was to have substantial completion. Are you talking about the door access controls? Yes. Our goal was to complete door access controls at the site this summer. But again, with going into DSA, that may.
Two from here.
Yes,
2/18/2025.
that's the submittal date for when it's going to be.
I'm sorry. I thought
Yes.
substantial. Yeah.
Yes, no.
Sheree,
Yes.
just one question. There's a little typo.
Yeah, I think so.
It says tentatively, it doesn't say just planned.
Again, we are tentatively planned. That is correct.
I do want to point out that I think one of the things, Roger, you sort of touched on this, and I just want to, I want to belabor it a little bit and just say that if you look at the list of tasks, right, you're talking about laptop deployment, you're talking about wireless access points, PAs, clocks, safety systems, we have, camera systems, the boardroom upgrade. I mean, just the quarterbacking that it takes makes, this was quite a lift, and we also were in a compressed time period, like we were behind schedule a little bit because we were hoping to be done in August, obviously it wasn't. And it's more tenuous when you're trying to do these things, when you're in the middle of the school year and not wanting to take down an entire district or take down a site or whatnot. So just thank you to Cherie and the team just for helping quarterback this. I know NWN Carousel was also really involved, and Matt and Chris and so
Tony.
forth. So and Tony, of course. But just wanted to point out NAZ's work in this quarterback sort of multi-pronged project.
I appreciate being able to take on this project for the district. I have learned a lot about technology. I know that there's a lot more to learn about technology, but that I will leave for Tony and the team to do. So,
Excellent.
any other questions? Great, thank you all.
Sure.
Thanks, Cherie.
Sheree wanted to take on projects, so we gave her the easiest one, of course.
You're gonna
So-
regret that, I think.
Hey, she chose it. So we only have a few slides, so I'll try to be short, maybe just an hour, Blake. That's it. We'll start with the Holly Glen TK conversion project. As you know, at the last board meeting, the board approved the award of bid to R Dependable. We are happy to report that we broke ground on January 6th on this project. It just as a quick reminder, this project is Holly Glen. We have about, I would say, it's technically 4 separate projects that I'm going to review today. The first one is the TK conversion project, taking the existing building G, basically the floor plan that you see on the top of the screen in the rectangle. It's currently a 7 classroom or 7 spaces building. We are taking 6 of those spaces and repurposing those and creating 4 adequately sized TK classrooms with individual restrooms, a shared workroom, storage, casework, all of that good stuff. The area to the left is an existing lounge area that is undersized for a classroom that we had excluded from the project all along. We are looking at potentially, depending on where we are with budget, we do have a contingency on this project that we might do a cleanup in there, maybe just some paint, flooring, just to make sure that the entire building essentially is completed. But we'll know more as we get further along with construction. The second portion of this project is the doors addition project. We're cutting in doors to the building the kinder building that's directly across from this building, which is building F. They have doors facing the kinder playground, but not the TK playground. So to create that shared collaboration and easy access to the new TK playground that will be going in, we are cutting in doors into building F. The doors project is not starting until June 13th, though. We're going to wait, obviously, until school is out for the summer. Substantial completion for both of these projects is July 9th with final closeout by August 8th. So definitely in time for staff to return. We'll have move management, get everyone back in place before the staff returns. Here are some pictures of the demolition. As I indicated, we started January 6th. This contractor we have worked with in the past, the same contractor that did Del Air TK, they mean business. They came in and within that first day, deliveries were coming in. Generally, our concern was the long lead for the structural beam. As you may recall, we experienced a lot of structural concerns during DSA review because all of these walls were shear walls. Our concern that bidding it and going with a low bid is that, through that submittal process, sometimes there's long leads. They were able to get the material in right away. We gave them a limited notice to proceed. By the time we broke ground, the beams were being delivered at the same time. So we're definitely in good shape. This is a progression of them working in there, demolishing ceilings, demolishing walls, removing the drywall. And as you can see right now, we're down to the studs. Those walls that you see currently in wood studs, those will be demolished. This is before the structural, and they're going to move. The location of those walls will move, but we have to we have to put the structural beams in first before we can start removing some of these structural walls, shear walls. So the next portion of the Holly Glen site projects is a TK playground, which will be installed in that courtyard where they have their current playground. The architect for this project is also Corgan. We're scheduled to submit our drawings to DSA January 27th. It will be publicly bid. It is a combination of both design bid build, meaning we're going to publicly bid the installation portion of it, but at the last board meeting, the board authorizes to move forward with procuring the actual playground equipment via CMAS contract, which we have already done. We secured the purchase order before the end of December to ensure that we maintain the 2024 pricing, because January 1st pricing increased by, I believe, was it 15 or 20%, something like that. Yeah, it's a drastic increase. Construction amount for actual installation will be determined. We are getting ready to start bidding that process while we wait for DSA submittal. It is a pre-checked piece of equipment. Again, it's only for accessibility at this point. So we should move faster with DSA. But again, we're always at the mercy of their review period. We have a mandatory job walk scheduled for February 18th with our bid opening on the 12th of March. We plan to come to the second board meeting in March for recommendation to award the bid, and with a planned start of June 16th. So as soon as school is out for the summer, we'll break ground on the playground and complete the project by August 8th. This also includes the installation of a shade structure. And this picture that you see here is the actual equipment. It's an odd shape that we're working with. We had to create almost that H, if you will, because that whole corridor or that whole courtyard is a series of underground major utilities. So we had to bring in Utilocate to do scanning to make sure that we would miss all of those. As it is, I'm a little nervous because we are expanding the size of the current playground is tiny. I'm sure you have all seen it. It's tiny. Now that we're adding additional classrooms, we obviously need to expand. The good news is that we're some of this individual pieces like the playhouse, the musical instruments, those don't require deep footings or anything like that. So it was all intentional. That's why we didn't go with heavy type of equipment that required deep footings. That might be a concern with utilities, underground utilities. Yes. And here's another view of the playground. Now, the rubber surface, it's pour in place. That's what they call it, pour in place rubber. It is not that purple or blue color, but it's actually a combination of 3 colors. And these are all colors that I met with the principal as well as all of the TK staff. I provided 2 options in terms of the actual playground equipment, as well as colors for the rubber. And they were all pretty much split on the 2 options. It was an even split from the staff. It came down to the principal being the final decision maker. And we're going with this teal. It is part of their school colors in terms of their logo. And for the pour in place rubber is a mixture of 3 combined colors, which is the teal, the gray, and the dark gray. So it'll look really nice. It's about 40%, and 20% of the dark gray. We're also installing, as you know, shade is always at a premium. It's always needed. So we're installing a 4-post hip shade structure that is not part of the equipment, but it's a separate piece of structure that is also pre-checked. And we brought the authorization to move forward with USA Shade to procure the equipment. We've also issued the PO and to secure the 2024 pricing as well. So all of that has already been ordered. Yes.
So that shade structure is separate from the shade you see over the playground?
It'll be over it.
It'll be
over.
It's not that one thing?
It's not that one.
Okay.
Because that particular one, this company, Burke, can provide it, but it's not part of their pre-check submittal. It would trigger a full review, which would delay the process. So And they couldn't provide calculations fast enough. We would have submitted to DSA 2 months ago, and we kept waiting. We were trying to work with them since it was built in. The pricing would have been slightly less. Problem is, it kept delaying us, and we said, no, let's go with a pre-check. We went to USA Shade. We presented that, we had to have a preliminary meeting with DSA, pull their application, put it on hold, met with DSA, showed them the USA Shade pre-check plans. They approved them, and now we are getting ready to resubmit.
So will it cover more than what you see?
It
in the
will.
photo?
It's larger. Mhm.
Is that the overlay on it on that?
You could see it. I know it's a little difficult to see, but it covers quite a bit. Quite a bit, except the slides, but at that point, they're just lighting right down.
They're not made of metal like when we were kids. They're not fur.
No, it's plastic. Okay. And then the last project that I'm going to focus on this evening is the district-wide flooring and ceiling tiles refresh project. As you know, at the last board meeting, the board decided to, or gave us direction to explore the feasibilities of different options in terms of project delivery, whether we treat it as a piggyback bid, if there was a CMS out there, if we did a design bid build, meaning go out with the low bidder. We have explored all options. And given the fact that we have a very short summer sprint, just, 2 months, 40 days, our recommendation is to move forward with Kaya. Kaya has a piggyback bid that would allow us to do the complete project. That means all of the flooring, the removal, the replacement, as well as the ceiling tiles under their piggyback contract. Now, if you recall, even before we explored other options, we came in with a ROM of how much it would cost to do all 4 sites. The numbers that came in, Kaya provided some revised numbers after we requested a breakdown. We went back and forth. Those numbers are now in line with the ROM that we had provided. Our recommendation would be to move forward with Kaya at the next board meeting. We'll bring an item forward for approval if that's the board's desire. Recommending that 2 sites move forward for this summer, Aviation and Weisberg Middle School. My understanding is that we need to maintain 1 school for summer school. And as you know, we will have several projects already impacting Holly Glen Elementary School. It is one of the newer campuses. Their flooring is relatively in good shape. Aviation is the oldest, and Weisberg has such heavy traffic of students back and forth. It's just, these 2 sites are ideal for us to try for this summer. This is a complete scope of work that we would be moving forward with. These are the materials. The first picture, well, obviously the ceiling tiles, that's obvious. Right below it is the carpet sample. There are 24 by 24 carpet tiles, which you saw earlier today. As I indicated, digitally, it looks much lighter than it is, but it's really a nice navy blue with gray, which is what we heard loud and clear from all staff. They like blues and grays. And it has a little bit of a lighter teal color. We have the sample in our office if anyone ever wants to stop by and look at it. If we get approval to move forward, we'll take it around the schools and start meeting with the affected sites as well. You were going to say something, please?
I just want to say a couple of things. One is, time was of the essence, so thank you for sharing that. And I think, a couple of things that we looked at was, looking at this Kaya bid, it did come in quite a bit higher than we had
Right.
anticipated. I know Roger had shared with you in our meeting, it had come in at, something like $8 million, which seemed ridiculous.
Over 2 million higher than we anticipated.
And apparently it was a mistake. So at least, whether it was either good negotiation or a mistake, we did get the, I guess we call it the quote or the, what do you? call
Proposal.
it? Proposal.
It's the proposal. Go ahead.
No, so we got the proposal back that actually matches what we had anticipated, what we had budgeted, including, we're pretty conservative in our budget, about $7 million. So this will come in under that. So that's a timing thing, obviously wanting to move quickly to be able to get these done in the short time that we have during the summer. And there's a lot that goes with that, with moving and moving stuff out and moving things in and all of that. The second piece was selecting a carpet, that's accessible, that is, that there's enough of to be able to put across sites. Also finding a carpet that would fit on all of our sites, because, we want to be able to be, it's kind of economies of scale.
Standard.
So, really being able to do that. So there were some limitations, in this process, but I think that we found found a good happy medium with a carpet that looks really nice. It's not overly, it doesn't have a bunch of color in it, so it's something where some of the feedback that we received from some of the teachers involved in the process, was that they like to decorate rooms in a certain way and do the pop and the color and the stuff, themselves, which is awesome. So we'll tone down the colors and we'll go from there.
So it's the same carpet in both pictures. For some reason, it looks lighter in the picture to the left. The maple color is a luxury vinyl tile that would be installed in all lobbies, offices, corridors, multi-purpose room, any wet areas within a classrooms. Classrooms will have, I would say, about 90% carpet and then about 10% LVT in each of them. Yes.
I do want to add to one more thing. Sorry, Noemi.
No problem.
The selection of the middle school and aviation was also, relatively calculated in the sense that the middle school is our most trafficked school. I mean, it definitely has the most traffic, the most, there's just bigger kids that are harder on stuff. So it's a matter of trying to get that taken care of first. As well as you have like the gym flooring and multi-purpose flooring and things that are a little bit more specialty that we just want to put attention on early and get that taken care of. Just so much utility outside of just the normal operations of school. We have rentals at the gym and all of that. Second, aviation is by far our oldest school, the one that's seen the least amount of upgrades over time and definitely in need of flooring and carpeting and so forth. So we'll do that. And then we'll work on scheduling the second half, which would be obviously the other two schools,
Del Air
and Holly Glen. The good news about aviation is the multi-purpose room actually doesn't have to get touched. So we won't be redoing the flooring there. It's, I think 2016, we had replaced the flooring there.
We're just gonna strip, wax, and seal. It's still in relatively good condition. It would be wasteful funds to replace it.
That's it. That's all I have.
One of the questions that I had received earlier was the type of fibers for the carpet. I mentioned that it's a lifetime warranty, 1-year installation. Fibers are nylon and the backing is vinyl for the carpet. In terms of the other question that I received regarding the logo at the NPRs, we're planning to install LVT with the logo. It is not a film. It is not a sticker-like. It's actually a laser cut piece that is cut into what they call Victory product. It has the same 10-year warranty as your LVT floor. It does not disintegrate. 10-year warranty for it. In fact, they're more confident that would probably last even longer than your LVT because it's extremely durable. Was there a question?
I just have a little.
Yes.
I know last summer there was an outdoor camp at the middle school. I don't know if they used the indoor space, the gym or anything like that, but I'm just curious about the sequencing of when the gym floor would be,
and that's
out.
That's precisely why Kaya would be a great option. Because if we would put this out to bid right now, it is the minimum time frame would be about 70 days, but you're looking more like 90 by the time we bring it to the board. That's pushing into April. By that time and trying to secure submittals, going through the submittal process, making sure that we have material in hand, it makes me extremely nervous that we're very close to summer and we're not really doing logistics in terms of planning with a low bidder that we don't know who we're going to end up with. At least Kaya, we know, we've worked with them in the past and they do this all the time. They're used to summer sprints. And by awarding at the next board meeting, if that's the direction, then that allows us to start planning now and potentially work with the site and determine what areas we can close sooner and start on those projects sooner. So for example, if May is a slow month, maybe we close it or April and we can start with the gym then.
And how long will it be? Do you have a sense of how long it will be out of commission?
I'm assuming it'll be about a month for the gym just because there's more involved. We want to do things right. We don't want to go too fast that we don't do our due diligence when in terms of the floor prep. After we remove, we want to moisture test. We want to make sure that the floor is prepped before we put the new vinyl. Otherwise, that will void our warranty if there's any issues down the road if we don't do it right.
I would say too, the other thing with the gym in particular is that obviously we're going to have to pull out the bleachers that are there now, and those bleachers have seen better days. So it would be likely that we would then, we're doing the gym. Yeah,
We're not doing it with that.
we're doing it with this. No.
Oh, no, we're not doing the gym with the LBT.
No,
Oh,
we're
doing it with
using the
that,
Omnisport.
Thermal,
Oh, there we
the
go.
Omnisport.
It's the Target Omnisport. Omnisport is,
We're on the right way.
Yeah.
it's a roll-on product that, it's very similar to what they have now. It's welded in, not welded, seam, what did they say? I asked right before we came to the meeting, rolled on material, no planks or tiles. It's seam welded and it's used for athletic spaces, basically like for like, but obviously a much better product now. And we would be including also the school site logo in that.
Is this our piggyback?
No, it's not.
It's not.
We don't have a flooring piggyback. This is through Alvord.
We gotta change that.
It's already in place. Let's go cancel theirs. We're more important.
So I think that, one of the things I just wanted to add, like the complexity of the gym is also obviously like this, we have to bring the bleachers out. We
Correct.
are gonna have to look at potentially replacing the bleachers. And mechanically, they don't work very well, so it's a pretty difficult process to even get them out. It's almost a two-person job just to pull them out as a man. I mean, it's like manual assisted. So probably looking at more of an automated system for that, and also looking at how you automate the gym, the basketball hoops, basically, that come down.
And that would be outside of Kaya's scope of work. Theirs is strictly the ceiling tiles and flooring refresh, but we would obviously work to replace those
That's a bigger.
right away as well.
That's a bigger project, correct? Well, that will trigger some other issue.
Any other questions?
Yes.
So, no, I mean, this piggyback includes labor,
Yes,
so there wouldn't be a separate bid.
Nope.
This is a one
correct.
shot, okay.
Yes.
And then I just want to share what I shared earlier about our responsibility is beauty, it's upkeep, it's longevity. And 10-year lifetime warranty on the carpet, love that. The 10-year warranty on the LVT. I have concerns about the LVT material just from personal experience. I know this is better, but
It's commercial grade,
some
right?
concern. Is there any way to extend that warranty? My fear is at the end of 10 years, everything's replaced, but it's now the 10 years in 1 month and this looks terrible. And it's unlikely, but I'm worst case scenarioing it.
I can certainly look into that to see if there's a
And
way.
do we know any schools that have used this material for 12, 15 years?
I can find out.
Yeah, if they-
Absolutely.
Ask them if they'll join lifetime warranty.
I doubt it. And the last piece is the picture to the right is the same, again, same carpet, but now we've incorporated all the finishes for the FF&E, which is the furniture, fixtures, and equipment process. As you know, the district has been working with staff, teachers, on developing an FF&E committee because we are doing a pilot this in the next couple of months. And these are the colors and the type of materials that were selected for the furniture. So as you can see, it all ties in fairly nicely. Questions?
Yep.
Okay. That's all I have. Thank you.
Can I just say, we have not planned, strategized the process for this yet, I mean, other than high level stuff, so obviously we still need to kind of do a plan, like Gantt chart, figure out what has to happen when, and make sure that we're now at a point where we probably will start presenting and preparing that message for the staff. Teachers
Right.
will be impacted by this. And-
Well, we needed to decide what delivery we would use, what materials we would use. Now that I think we're in a good place to start making some recommendations to the board, then we can start running with planning, because that's the key. That's why I love that we're gonna be able to do it this early. That way it gives us ample time to effectively plan, because the biggest piece here is going to be the disruption to the staff. So we are gonna have, which is not included in that $2.5 million, is move management cost. Cherie will work with our move management companies to come out, do a walk. It will be a full white glove service, meaning they will pack for the teachers, they will document the rooms, they will come and unpack and set them up. And if the new furniture is already in place, then we would replace it with the new furniture and have their rooms ready. So we're trying to do minimal impact to the staff.
Can I clarify?
Yeah, except the personal items, of course.
So the movers do not pack boxes and unpack boxes. So what we do is we will provide boxes to staff for their personal contents. Anything that goes in a box will remain in a box. The movers will move the boxes. For sustainability purposes, the movers use crates and carts to move contents from room to room, and then place them in the room based on the meetings that were conducted and the setup that they would like. So I just wanted to make sure that that part was
Yes, the
clear.
teachers are not doing all that. They
Yeah.
come, they put the stuff, they move them, and they put
Correct.
it back wherever they
So
want.
we're talking about like 2 boxes, 3 boxes maybe of stuff that the teachers would have to pack. We try and limit the amount of boxes that we will give them during this process, because the more boxes we give them, they try and pack all their stuff, and then it makes more work for them. So with the white glove service, we really want to minimize what that is to the teachers. Sorry, just wanted to
Okay,
clarify that.
thank you.
Thank you.
Anything else?
One quick question.
Okay.
Excellent presentation. I'm glad to see.
This was
that
short and
we're-
sweet.
Yeah. I'm glad that we are standardized. now,
Yes.
Because that's one thing that we lack.
Archie is extremely happy.
So the question I have is,
Uh-huh.
who's documenting all the standards for us?
We have it.
Okay,
So all of these standards were previously selected, not necessarily the colors, but the Target, the 24 by 24, the LVT, the Omnisport. Those are already outlined as part of the process that we brought in LPA first and foremost. That was the first architectural firm that we brought in to help us develop the design standards, right? When we started, we have those.
Okay, so
Everything's
I
standardized.
just want to make sure because, you know.
Colors can vary sometimes from obviously, but the product itself, the warranty, that didn't change. Now that we're gonna implement one carpet across the district, that is 100% the best route to take. Yeah.
Here's what the plan is, sorry, for Holly Glen, because we're not touching that, multipurpose room floor.
Aviation.
I'm sorry, aviation. Will material be set aside so that eventually it will match when it does need to be replaced, or what's the plan?
The storage is always
Yeah.
difficult at every site. As it is, we're gonna receive 10% of extra surplus material. That's LVT, that's carpet, that's rubber based. It always ends up in the back of a container somewhere at the warehouse that they never find it. I would be hesitant to spend the money on purchasing the extra for that floor. I think we just address it at the time. Fortunately, it's a separate standalone building that we can find something similar. Remember, we're going with maple. That's a very standard neutral color that can easily be matched at any point.
Yeah. That works. Yes, whatever's comparable at that time. that
Exactly.
We don't know when.
Right.
When.
I would be afraid to buy it and then it disappears because there was nowhere to store.
And I think too, it's like, it could end up being that it's not a bond program project at the point that we replace it, it could be a maintenance project, and we would just, fund it as such. Or it could be an end of the bond program, we kind of walk out, and that's the last thing, we do with some paint on the facilities or something like that. So it's just about sequencing and phasing and trying to figure out the best time and way to pay for that particular project.
Right.
So, one concern I have, and I know there's budgetary issues. I'm understanding it right with regards to aviation, Webster Middle School, is we're gonna get new flooring. We're gonna get new ceiling tiles. We're gonna get new furniture.
Correct.
In classrooms. But not paint.
Not at this time.
Not at this time.
Potentially later,
So,
depending on what.
I know, but
Mhm.
But from my standpoint, whenever you walk in a room and you have new furniture, and the paint does not, so is there a way to, get to list it as an alternate? And then we can make a choice whether we
Just
want to.
Keep
exercise
in mind that
it.
absolutely we can, but keep in mind that most classrooms have tackable wall panels that are always covered
So.
with student work.
So a little bit to
Uh-huh.
think, right, because that would be less paint, right? So
Mhm.
that's my point. I think that I'm always concerned when a community walks in, whether it's open house and you have all this new stuff, but then you have stuff, wall, so I want us to think about that because that is something that I'm a little concerned about. Turned over classrooms like that and it never sits well with the community, so. Just something to think about. I know we have budget constraints.
No, and that's part of the reason why we even recommended to move forward with the ceiling tiles, because that's another thing. You walk into a classroom, you look beautiful flooring, beautiful furniture, but if you see stains or damage, the immediate thing is to look up. at least with the walls, they put so much artwork or student work or that you can't, sometimes you can look beyond that. But we can certainly explore that as an alternate if that's.
You know, I mean, the piggyback vehicle with Kaya does not include painting.
Oh, I'm sure it does. It has a lot. They listed so many different things, right up to shade structures and landscaping. I mean, they included a lot in that piggyback.
It's a modernization piggyback. So that modernization piggyback does include.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay.
Everything, right?
Thank you. All right, any further questions or?
Okay.
Can we move this next section? Okay, thank you. Thank you, Noemi. Thank you, Sheree.
Thank you.
We're gonna be moving on to section 7 of our agenda under reports and information. Item 7.1 is board member reports. Going to go ahead and start to my left here with Rebecca.
Great. Thanks, Roger. So I have a few things. So I know we're considering a couple resolutions tonight that I wanted to just highlight. One is the National School Counselors Week resolution. As we know, and we've said this repeatedly, social and emotional learning is a key component of the curriculum in Wiseburn, and the counselors are providing critical mental health services as well as SEL resources for our students and families. I want to thank Dr. Ingram for continuing to build a culture of belonging within our schools. Alongside these counselors. I don't have the list of the current counselors, but I'm sure they're somewhere and we can get those for folks. But thank you to each of them for what they're doing within our school sites. Next, I wanted to just mention that, special education needs are something that I care particularly about. I wanted to thank Kim Jones for inviting me to participate in a meeting this morning with our CAC reps, that's the Community Advisory Council reps to the Southwest SELPA. Alyssa and Rosie are parents in the district, and they represent us along with I think it's 11 or 12 other districts within the SELPA to provide information and resources to our families about what we do in terms of providing resources for students with special needs and their families. It was a great meeting. I'm looking forward to won't steal Kim's thunder on all the things that we talked about, but I'm excited both that Alyssa and Rosie are incredibly committed to serving in those roles and being a resource and working with us to expand the community connection. Which I know has also been a priority for us, on the board, building those things. So thanks to Kim for that. In honor of Dr. King's birthday this coming Monday, I wanted to share a couple quotes. Life's most persistent and urgent question is, what are we doing for others? And everybody can be great because everybody can serve. So I know these last couple weeks have been hard for the LA family. With the fires and relocations. I know we've talked some about new students that may be coming into our district. And I was pleased to see that we had both resources for families and also the opportunity for that service of the resource drive, the donations at Holly Glen earlier this week. And I know many community members are stepping up as we should. So I'm interested to see what the impact will be on our schools from some families that will be likely moving into the area or maybe otherwise displaced, and encourage us to continue to step up and make them part of our community here in Wiseburn. And then lastly, there is also a resolution on the board agenda, or at least the start of a discussion on board member compensation. So I'm grateful to my colleagues for considering this. And I think it is a real, I don't think that any of us do this for the money right now. We do it out of the love of service. Again, sort of my theme for this. But as a single mom of 2 kids, including one with special needs, I have to provide childcare and transportation and resources, and it takes a lot of time to serve as a board member, to be engaged and things like that. So I'm grateful that we're providing a small, considering providing
a small, I don't think it's called a stipend, but yeah, stipend for the meetings that we will be attending. It will considerably help, I think, both future board people in the community who may want to serve in these positions when we're no longer in them, and hopefully take down some of the barriers to board service that might exist because we don't currently provide any form of compensation for the many hours and like actual expenses that we incur in board service. So thank you to my colleagues for considering that resolution. That's it.
Thank you, Rebecca. Go to my right, Nelson.
Thank you, Roger. Just two quick comments. My first comment is just welcome. I want to welcome everyone back. Happy New Year. It's crazy that it's January 16th and I'm saying Happy New Year. It's the first time we're meeting. So again, looking forward to 2025. Second comment is kind of on the heels of those comments. I just wanted to take a moment to express my deep condolences to all the affected families of the recent horrific wildfire that's taken place. Obviously, my thoughts and our thoughts go to, are with those families, the first responders, and the communities that have been impacted, and obviously wishing them the best in terms of recovery and rebuild. I've reached out recently to Blake and asked if there's anything we can do to help those families and so forth. I'm glad to see that some things are happening. The governor just, I think today, just lifted some of those regulations, some of those requirements that schools impose in terms of permits and so forth to help those families. So difficult time for LA, but remain optimistic as we're all coming together to help out. So that's all I have.
Thank you, Nelson. Michelle?
Just to kind of piggyback on that, I mean, I think horrific is just the only word that we can use for the type of devastation that we've had to ring in the new year with, and it just makes me sad. I want to redo. I'd like to just roll it back and do it again. But I think that in the wake of that kind of devastation, what I've been most just happy about is how the communities have actually really come together and how you're witness to all this outpouring of support, almost to the point where they just can't take any more donations. And that is what LA is about. And that is why I love living here, and more, with just our own community. I see it very prevalent in just how families are opening up their homes to some displaced families. And it makes you proud to live here and to be here. And so I hope we embrace that feeling and we extend that, to the families that are coming in, especially through our schools. I want to also extend a thank you to the staff with the flexibility during the last 2 weeks. I mean, indoor, outdoor, and that's hard. And you don't know, any given day, what your day is going to look like as a teacher, as a staff member. And so it is important to thank the people that are at the schools that are so flexible, and at the same time also creating a safe space for the mental stability of the children who aren't affected directly with the fires, but they see what's going on. They see the panic, the fear of their adults that they look to kind of gauge how they feel. And they come to school and they look to those adults to provide that stability and the calm of routine. And so again, thank you to the people in the schools or in the classrooms that are really, really counselors as well, really kind of providing that safe space for kids. Apart from that, I love seeing Mr. D's presentation. Amazing work. When you see inspired teachers, I feel so grateful that we have them here in our district. I see on the high school level where, I've got a girl who's really intense about robotics. So it's amazing how we can see how we are allowing more kids to be able to before they get there, you know, to really be excited. My daughter had zero interest in robotics prior to her freshman year. And so it still can happen, but could you imagine what is going to happen when we start as low as TK or as small as TK, that they're going to grow up with that appreciation or that interest. So I get really, really inspired when I see teachers like that. So that's all that I have.
Thank you, Michelle. Neil?
Well said, Piers. Article Happy New Year as well. Thank you. It is strange to say that this time of year, but Happy New Year to all. Our hearts are heavy with what's happened in this. Horrific is the right word, and our opportunity to give. And I hope our hearts are continue to fill with compassion and giving, and that we do make space for and make welcoming to those students, those families that we can bring in, and also supporting our teachers in the roles of adding more students could potentially be more difficult. So that balancing act to support all. I'm also, to address this strange thing on my neck, filled with gratitude. I have recently had spinal surgery and successfully removing and replacing 3 discs in my neck. So you'll be seeing this for me for a number of weeks. But what we can do today is remarkable, and I'm grateful for the opportunity to be here after leaving the hospital just a few days ago. On an AI note and technology note, as Andy shared in his presentation, I'm glad you mentioned that. I felt the same thing, that the future represents STEM opportunities and more science and more math. Our math focus is even more appropriate. Glad to use partners in what we're seeing in business outside of schools is increasing partnerships. The fact that we're embracing those partnerships, Khan Academy being one, is to our credit. Well done. We can't do it all, but we can bring in partners that can help us do it all. And but one thing on our agenda this evening, Maggie, I was super excited. You mentioned this at our last meeting that we're going to be having the training with bringing AI tools to educators in our classrooms. Fantastic. Excited to see that. The future is generative AI, agentic AI, artificial general intelligence, artificial superintelligence. You see where this is going. We need to be on that bandwagon. So thrilled to see that direction. And thank you, everybody.
I would also want to just add to that, and I'd love to see more girls in STEM. Can we do that? So hopefully, again, as we get this program going, that we see a lot more young women in your roles as well.
Thank you. Thank you to all my colleagues and board here on the board. Wanted to share a few thoughts as well regarding the wildfires. Just wanted to, it's an incredibly difficult time for parents and the communities that are going through this, and horrific is the appropriate word there. For those parents and students that are considering having to make that very difficult choice, in this case, having no choice, they're really forced to go to other districts, if you will, for their school and instructional needs. On behalf of the Wiseburn Unified School District, you know, if a student and a parent wants to make the decision to come here to Wiseburn, just know you're welcome to come here. I mean, this is an unbelievable, unprecedented time in our history with regards to the fires, and just know that we want to be a community, and we are a community partner, whether you live within the Wiseburn boundaries or not. And I see Steve here with Da Vinci. There's a lot of students that are already come, whether here to our district, whether it's to Wiseburn or to Da Vinci, and all students that are in school essentially they're all our kids, right? So if you have that need, you're welcome to come here, whether it's to Wiseburn, and I'm sure the Da Vinci board and district would have the same sentiment. So welcome. Truly look forward to taking care of your kids, your students that would become a part of our family as well, especially in this dire time of need for what they're all going through. As we kick off 2025, Happy New Year. I didn't know it's odd to say, but I do look forward to moving and visiting all of our school sites, doing some campus tours with Blake, visiting some of our classrooms and seeing some of our programs and projects in action. So I look forward to receiving some more invitations as we move forward. Particular interest for me is, obviously, you all know, mathematics, but that's just one key element, if you will, within a school district. So I'd like to participate and have an opportunity to see other programs, whether it's the robotics, special education, English language learners, really looking for opportunities to really engage with our community and our school sites. So that's what I'm really, truly looking forward to 2025. With that, we're going to move on to our next item. Item 7.3 is a mathematics update.
Well, it is January and our staff has hit the ground running. Our teachers are doing incredible things. We are getting ready. Ms. Navarro, our math TOSA over at Weisberg Middle School, has been working with Core Learning, and they're going to be doing their second professional development day on February 3rd around expressions. So the whole team will be coming out. And she's also planning for, and stay tuned because we're looking for a day, a professional development lab day. So it's a different structure that hasn't been done at the school before. And she's very excited to try this new process out with our teams where it's like actionable insight and like instantaneous. And let's pull out and go back in with our kids and learn while we're in the process of teaching our lessons. So it's a pretty exciting time over at the middle school. And both Ms. Compton and Ms. Navarro have been collaborating together for, I mean, like Neil had mentioned, on March 7th, we are going to be moving to a mini conference model for our day with our teachers. And it's not only AI, but our own district coaches are be doing professional development, or be doing a session, around gamification and math. And so ways that you can implement games and make it super engaging in mathematics in classes from our TK students to our 8th grade students. So the two of them will be presenting on that topic, as well as our ELD coaches presenting as well. So we have lots of things happening on our March 7th day.
Excellent. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for that. Blake, we're going to move on to district leadership reports. So I'll turn that over to you.
Sure. Sean?
Yeah, a couple of updates. I want to thank NAZ and our M&O department for the successful coordination of move management services at Holly Glen for our before and after school program. As you know, their existing space is currently under construction for the TK conversion project. We had an existing storage container on the site at Holly Glen. And so fortunately, that move management company was able to surplus some of the old unusable equipment in that container and utilize that, donate it for other purposes. So we use that existing space. And so the RAS furniture and equipment is currently housed in that existing container until we're able to find those spaces for them again. On another note, the construction at Holly Glen for the TK conversion, along with possibly some of the solar construction, has led to an uptick in a mice population, if you want to call it that, in kind of those that existing kinder wing that kind of butts up against that construction that's going on right now. Obviously, some of their natural habitats have been disturbed. So what we've done to address that is we've had Orkin on site numerous times at Holly Glen. They have gone through all of those existing classrooms. They've identified any points of entry where maybe some plumbing or electrical is going through the walls. They put kind of some steel wool in there to kind of shore up those spots. They've put door sweeps on all the doors to kind of mitigate the mice from getting in that point of entry. They've put down glue traps and bait traps in kind of those high traffic areas. Not any areas where the students would be susceptible to touching or coming into contact with those. Let's see what else. Any areas that have been impacted by the mice are disinfected. We are fortunate enough to have our on-site custodial staff go into all those classrooms in the morning and replace any bait traps or glue traps that need to be replaced on a daily basis before the students enter those classrooms so that they're not seeing anything of that nature. We've asked the teachers to store food in snap-tight containers. The district is purchasing some of those for the teachers that have been impacted as well. We've also asked them to clean out drawers and spaces that might have, and under sinks that might have any clutter, bags, anything that would be deemed kind of like a nesting material. So we're really making, all the efforts we can to just kind of mitigate that impact.
Sean, just with that too, I just want to say, like, they're called, pests, they're pests for a reason. What I mean by that is that they're gonna, they don't just disappear. They're finding ways. I mean, it's like they're finding ways in, they're finding ways around, and I think it's part of it is trying to continue to find where those entry points are. So hopefully we're there. I mean, I think we're 2 days, clean, I guess, in that way. And just trying to keep monitoring that, but they will find, what's that? Yeah, we're like, it's a check, it's a checklist for sure. But I just wanted to say that it's not, they are pretty relentless, these little critters at finding a way in and finding a way around. So we're just, using our best, putting our best resources forward to try and make sure we could identify where they're coming in and how we can prevent them from doing so in the future. Because just frankly, and probably it is gross, I mean, it's awful. And we've got to figure out a way to stop it. It's just, it's not one of those things you could stand in front and, and be a bully, right?
Everything's proactive.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Goodness.
And just lastly to that point, we're not using any sort of poison or anything, as obviously we wouldn't want any kids or staff or anybody to come into contact with any of that. In addition, we are doing some continued clean out projects at the school sites. M&O has been coordinating with the principals so far at Aviation and Holly Glen to drop the large kind of almost like commercial waste bins to kind of just get rid of any kind of unwanted, old kind of clutter and whatnot, to just kind of make room for, some of these construction projects that are on the horizon, and just they've been asking for it just to kind of clean out their storage spaces, just to make room for things like emergency supplies and things of that nature. So that's already been done at Aviation Holly Glen, and so we're going to continue to make the rounds at Del Air Middle School. And lastly, last week, Archie and myself, we delivered. We had some masks, fortunately, in our shop. So we delivered masks to all the school sites. We had a bunch of kids' masks, so we delivered those to all the nurses' office at all the school sites, so that the kids have access to that and had access to that when the air quality was a lot worse last week. And that's all I got.
Thank you, Sean.
So the musical Newsies Junior has started tryouts, and today students got their callback notices for tomorrow, kind of finally assigning the roles that they'll receive in the positions. And so a big shout out to Ms. Blue and Ms. England, who have been patient, because with the fires, having to reschedule things, when rooms are constrained. So very exciting. Save the date for May 7th and May 9th, in which Newsies Junior will be on at the middle school. And we're even going to be bringing on some fifth graders as well. So those tryouts are going to be at the end of the month to help bridge that gap with our arts program from the elementaries to the middle school. So that's a great thing to see happening here. And then on Tuesday, we had our first ELA committee. It's our signature practice committee. So a group of teachers, administrators, elementary, middle school, counselors, special ed teachers, our ELD TOSAs met to start talking about, what does literacy mean to us as a district? What is the research behind it? And some next steps we do have a pretty tight timeline to develop or to choose and bring before to you by June 30th of this year, the screener that we'll be adopting that are required of all kindergarten through second grade teachers. So I am going to put my glasses on because I'm going to read one of our big moments that we had was we did create a mission around the work that we're going to be working on. And I'd like to share that with all of you. And what our committee has decided that a reader of Weisburn is decodes words, reads fluently, and uses background knowledge to enhance comprehension. They think critically, ask questions, infer meaning, and evaluate credibility. Readers summarize, making connections, and visualize by self-monitoring with curiosity and joy, building one's life as a reader. And so that's a pretty proud thing that we're focusing all of our work around. But our day began with just a little bit of kind of setting the norm of what research is out there. And we were lucky to have a guest, Brooklyn Trover, who's worked in the San Diego office of Ed, and now Curriculum and Associates came and did some presenting and learning for all of us in the room. And then moving into the day of developing our mission, and then the kind of 411 of this literacy screener that's coming out, because the list was just released by the CDE. And so I just want to give a big thank you to the teachers that were willing to step outside of their classrooms and be involved in this work. And we have a big chunk of the teachers that were there. They're actually going to begin piloting iReady as a tool and as a new diagnostic tool to really get down to making some really great data-driven decisions on what we found for our research.
Just throw out just one comment. Thank you for that. And two words struck out to me that just were magic. One was joy,
Yeah.
right?
I know.
And the other was really important in our time was credibility.
Right.
Reading with comprehension and sourcing. Is this from a reliable source? So
Right.
important today.
Right.
Thank you.
Especially these days, right? And so it was such great work to see our teachers doing.
Thank you.
No, Neil, sorry, that compels me to want to say something too. You know, I think that when we talked about joy, and I know Maggie and I had a chance to talk about it a little bit too. Ongoing joy in reading requires you to look at, you know, resources, look at reading materials, and look at things with a critical eye to be sure that what we're doing is fostering joy, right? I mean, it does make you ask these critical questions about literacy and about reading, and how are we celebrating reading for the kids. You know, so I think that's a great word to have in there, because it really does. There's a lot of action behind it too. You know, it's not just enjoying it, but it's what do you do to allow for that enjoyment.
It's part of the whole arc of learning should be joyful and life. Yeah. Thank you.
Can I just add one more comment about I'm curious in the context of this, whether we'll be looking at like AR as the, and continuing to force kids to have goals to meet, right? Or within like a universe of books that's allowed at their grade level. I understand that there's, a lot of benefits to it. I've also seen, to use your other word, a gamification by the students of like, I'm going to read and get to my goal and then that's it. And then I won't start now. I'm going to wait until next semester so that my reading goes, I've seen it very recently. So I'm just curious, in the process of, looking at reading and how we're promoting literacy and joy. I mean, I read 200 books last year, so like I find great joy in reading. And I want other people to experience that too. And I feel like a little bit of the joy gets sucked out when you're trying to like just beat a goal of like, I've read so many things or so.
I mean, let me just say, I think thank you, Rebecca. I think that this probably isn't the most popular comment, but I'm going to just say it anyway. I think we absolutely have to look at AR. You know, I think we have to look at our practices, and maybe it's that we're validating, and I'm fine. Is AR providing joy to our students as it relates to reading? It's definitely something that me and Maggie chatted about, or Maggie and I chatted about. As it relates to reading, because it's, there's practices that you've done, and at one point AR probably was it was the way, right? I mean, I was a principal there. I know, at the middle school at least, I understand that it was the way. And there's always times to go back and look at those practices and determine if they're still leading to joy of reading. And it's not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing to look back and say, hey, we need to, it's a difference, like iterative, as you go through the process of reading and building resources. So I absolutely feel that specifically that AR will have to be looked at. I had my own children that went through the program and as well. And so, I mean, good, bad, and indifferent. I mean, there was good times, bad times. And I think it's just a worthwhile, anything that we do is worthwhile for us to look at. So yes, and absolutely AR specifically should be and will be evaluated through this process.
Looking forward to that discussion. Can't imagine. It's a delicate balance of data, because we value data as well as this idea of joy, right? And how do we strike both? How do we get both, the best of both worlds? And I think that is definitely a worthwhile conversation.
Thank you.
Thank you. Oh, I have one more exciting thing. We have had a busy weekend on services. On Monday, we were at the CAPS Network, our 4th day. I mean, our guiding coalitions are doing really, really difficult work. I mean, going through the process of a PLC is really shifting like how you've done things in the past into this new model. It's one that's continuous, it's ever changing. And we really learned a lot about how to shift the cultures at our school, from like meeting to talk about teaching to meeting to talk about what kids are learning about and how do we know that. And so, really empowering our teacher leaders, and I'm calling them our instructional leaders on our campuses, to really show, their peers and how to meet and how to do these things to best serve our students, to ensure our kids are learning at the highest levels. I have to say, I'm the luckiest one in the room because I get to hop tables to meet with everyone in our staff. And so I really enjoy getting to know everyone and where the schools are at, because they're all at different, and every team is at a different point in this process, and it's all in the positive upwards motion, and that's great to see because everything else and all the data is going to help support that as we go through this. So thank you for all your support to continue that journey.
Yeah, so I just actually want to kind of echo what was shared. I was a part of the day we had with the reading committee, and it was a fantastic day. As someone that is a reading specialist by trade, it was just a really exciting day to be a part of and to have representation from the special education department there. Something we have on the agenda tonight for the board to consider is adding some additional resources to the Sunday reading program, which is a reading intervention program that we've utilized with the special education department for many years. With new staff coming in, with different needs that are out there, we felt it was important to bring more resources. So we've already provided some training. And with that, we already started in the fall, Maggie and I coordinating with our reading intervention teachers because what we really talked about was the more robust resources, strategies, effective tools that we use in our classrooms will better help me on my end with my team and supporting the students and making sure that we are giving students opportunities in the classroom. So it's been exciting. We did have a really good training with some of her team and my team in October. And so tonight we have some items we'd like to purchase to continue to expand those resources and continue to build on that. So again, it was a really great day to be a part of. So that was great to see. And the second is what Rebecca already shared. I was able to meet today with our CAC parent reps. And I wanted to have Rebecca there as a former CAC parent rep for our district as well to begin some dialogue and really start to talk about our parent outreach and our communication and our way that we can continue to collaborate. And so it was a good starting point. I think we came away with a lot of next steps. I have a lot of next steps, but all good.
All for me, just
I think what I appreciated was, you know, really all four of us at that table are all parents of students with children with disabilities, and so it was important to listen to one another and already see that just by having that dialogue, we gain so much. And so it's a good starting point for us. We definitely want to continue working on ways we can continue to communicate with our families, provide spaces for our families to be able to dialogue together, look at equity across the district in terms of programs and supports we're offering. And so we have some good next steps. So thank you for joining us today.
I would like to just echo a little bit of what Rebecca said and highlight our counselors for National School Counselor Week that's coming up. They're really incredible. We're fortunate to have 6 counselors, 3 at the middle school and 1 elementary school, and a 7th who's home with a newborn baby. So shout out to her as well. But our counselors are really incredible. Just juggle so many balls every day, working directly with students on like their range of emotion and recognizing their personalities and just supporting teachers and families to make sure that our students have the best experience possible. And so our team just is constantly reflecting and identifying kind of new things to do or ways to do things better and taking action on that. And we're very appreciative of that. So want to shout them out. There's also a resolution for Black History Month, so that we're celebrating the rich history and culture and achievements of the Black community. We will do traditional things at our school sites in terms of education and activities with the students, but also some feedback that we've gotten from our PTAs and from students as well is like, what about the integration, right? Like, we don't want to just focus on a specific topic each month and then leave it for the rest of the year. And so this month, part of the counselors training to kind of trickle down at the sites is to really focus on intersectionality. So what about Black history relates to everyone and other cultures, and even kind of spilling into Women's History Month and AAPI. So we'll start to see that and focus on those things for the rest of the year. One more update, we're excited that enrollment season has kicked off. So our applications for new enrollments, re-enrollments, and interdistrict permits are now available and open online. we've started our school tours. So each site has had at least one virtual tour. And this week, Del Air and Holly Glen had in-person tours. We were at Holly Glen today and had about 60 people with us learning about Holly Glen, which was really exciting that there's such great interest.
If I may, what are the ages of the students?
For
The parents are coming, but are they representing, are they TK or
Oh,
they?
gotcha. So Holly Glen, a lot of them were for TK and kindergarten. Del Air, the same, a lot for TK, kinder, some for first grade. Not as many for the older grades for Del Air. Yes, the little ones. And there were so many questions raised, ranging from like, what are the appropriate kind of independent levels that a 4-year-old should kind of have when starting school, to kind of what are opportunities once they get to Da Vinci. So parents are really
Wow.
getting
Four years old to 12.
Steve, you need to join us at these events.
Yes.
You guys need a representation.
You're in time.
I mean, I get it.
Thinking about it. But
Way
a
to make us
special
all
shout
feel
out
like bad
to
parents for not.
Thinking
12 years in
advance. No, that's called planning. Good job.
Okay, about the whole time. But a special shout out to Ileana Muniz. She is our new enrollment outreach coordinator, not new to Wiseburn, but new to this position. And she just jumped right in and hit the floor running, and has really done an amazing job getting everything set up. And also a shout out to just the whole team. It takes so much to really put this together, and for everything to flow, from the custodians making sure that the NPRs are sparkling right and our campuses are all set, to the principals and office managers who are reading through the applications and communicating with our families. So we're off to a great start, and we're excited to see what's to come.
Thank you. Next, we have superintendent's reports. Back to you, Blake.
We have one other, we have Dr. Dugal's gonna.
Oh, apologies.
We're gonna have to add an agenda,
You
we're
know,
gonna have to
you
put
did-
Dr. Dugal's report too, right?
You did move vacation.
Really not necessary.
Please, Nisha.
Two quick updates. Agenda item 10.5 today for the board, looking to approve our tentative agreement with WFA. We are looking for continued collaboration, and we work together. We had negotiations in October through December, and agreed upon a couple of article additions or revisions. And so we're excited that it was tentatively agreed to by WFA, and now we bring that to the board as well. And then also, hot off the press, we will start to advertise this as well and promote this within our social media as well as to the community. But we are hosting another one of our kind of grassroots homegrown job fairs. It'll be on January 28th at the middle school from 3 to 6 p.m. So we are looking to fill some of our instructional aid positions, playground aid positions that are open, and we really do hope that we find folks in the community that would like to bring service to our students. And so we continue to do that. So once again, job fair, January 28th at the middle school from 3 to 6 p.m.
Now, superintendent's report.
Take it away here. Just want to obviously, this is the new year. It's our first meeting of the new year, so happy new year. You know, it's been unhappy for many, and I think that it leads into kind of the next thing, which is wildfires. But I did get a couple messages or questions, you know, as to why the district hadn't sent anything out as it relates to some of the supports that we may be giving, and want to share that that's there's a lot that goes into supports and kind of understanding the scope of what the governor is going to allow schools to do. There's also, you know, funding involved and all of that. So we needed to really, this is a marathon. You know, this isn't something that we're going to resolve in 4 days or 5 days or a few weeks. I mean, this is going to be, for all intent and purposes, a multi-year support for some of these families. You know, I mean, if not 5 years to a decade, you know, before some of these families are able to or choose to move back into their homes or neighborhoods that were impacted. Still fires going on, obviously, and so it's just a matter of trying to situate ourselves where we have the best information in front of us, and we have the ability to pivot. And with that being said, Roger, I hear your comments and others. The district is certainly poised, to be able to support families coming in. And also, at some point, may be able to leverage some of our partnerships with local districts, in the event. I mean, at one point you are full, right? And you just want to, make sure that we have those relationships with our local districts to be able to help, support families collectively in this and in partnership, with those other districts as we move forward here and try and figure that out. So just kind of sharing, we are preparing a message that's going to go out to families, probably more on the social media platform, just because that's where it's probably the best way to do that now, to get it out more broadly than just our email serve list. And what that would do is basically, share with families what their opportunities are, what their options are, I guess. As they look, I did have a chance to talk to Matt Wonder yesterday or the day before. And so Da Vinci is prepared to support as well. I've shared that information with Erica, with our communications person. So they'll be releasing a message that will be, not really, it's a Wiseburn message. I'm sure Da Vinci will repost it, but certainly with the permission of Matt to put forth some names of folks, put forth the name of the person at Da Vinci who would also be able to support families for kiddos that need to get into the high schools as well or connect. With that too, I'd like to give a shout out to Paul Jimenez. He's actually on our bond oversight committee. He helped put together, it was a donation drive that was spearheaded at SMC. But he really brought that to the community here. So it was something we could do quickly, and the outpouring from our community was amazing. His son Pablo was also involved in that effort. So really nice to see our young people also stepping up and helping and supporting. And also our very own communications support, Erica. Really has been instrumental in a donation center and support center that's happening in El Segundo. I mean, she's basically running it. And so it's been, there are a lot of efforts happening locally, as you all shared, to help support families that may be impacted, and so forth. And I also want to share too, it has been, and I think this was, Michelle, you shared this, talking about just kind of, are we inside, are we outside? Schools open, are they closed? And, ultimately, schools are very safe places. And, to the extent that we can't, to the extent that we can open, and that we're not being impacted or in grave danger of fire hazard, or fire actually impacting the site itself, we want to stay open. And we want to be able to provide that safe place for our families, for our students to come. We have a lot of first responders that are, military, fire, police, doctors, nurses, that serve our community and the greater community. And as you all know, their service is greatly needed right now, as ours is, to support the students that come so their families and parents can go off and do that work. I just gave a smattering of professions. There's a lot of professions that by proxy are very, very important to the fire, the stopping the fire and responding to the impact of the fire. So these are tough decisions. It's tough decisions to, when you're monitoring AQMD and the air quality and getting feedback from, LA County Department of Public Health. I think Nisha had a bit of a PTSD today on the phone with Dr. Ferrer and, on calls with them. And, it's kind of brings us back to the old, pandemic days. But the reality is that these are just difficult times and difficult decisions as we look to support our families, also to keep our kids as safe as we can. And then the Daily Breeze sends out, puts out an article about particles in the air that aren't captured by, all of this comes in real time to us, and so it's trying to filter all those things and make the best decisions and make the right phone calls so that we have the best information possible. So just wanted to share that. Also wanted some happy things going on. Had a great meeting with a joint meeting with WEF and Da Vinci and ourselves on the Performing Arts program. And if you all haven't seen the bill of events that are happening at Da Vinci in terms of the Performing Arts program, and it's really amazing. And my hat's off to Alexi, who's helping run that program. He's like the coordinator at Da Vinci for that program. Wish I knew his last name. I don't. So I'm just going to say Alexi. And, really engaging just really passionate about the arts, and it's been truly amazing to see how that's. I had a chance to go see a couple events, related to the performing arts at Da Vinci. It's just really, really awesome, and a good meeting to see that. And then I think now we're looking at how can we move from it being like Da Vinci and Weisburn doing, events to more of a WDV, a Weisburn Da Vinci arts program. I know Matt had some pretty interesting ideas yesterday related to that. So we had a good talk with him and Willis Chang, president of the Ed Foundation. So exciting conversations happening. And I just wanted to say that that's something that really exciting moving forward. Do you have a question? No?
Thumbs up.
Oh, thumbs up. Also had a chance yesterday. We had brought to the board the prospect of a baseball field at the Del Air Park site, or Del Air DV Connect site. And we're still the devil's in the details, right? I mean, it's still trying to figure out how we can ensure. Da Vinci is really working hard on trying to ensure that lunch spaces are available and adequate and safe lunch spaces are available for Da Vinci Connect, because this field would impact the current play space, right? So try to make sure that we can account for all of those things, and there's a garden involved, and there's like trees and benches and things of that nature, and this thing called a Gaga pit. So we have to figure out ways to move those things around, and they're large footprints, right? I mean, this isn't just like moving a tree or a table. I mean, it's a big deal. So trying to figure out how that happened. But I will say, in any event, whether it be a practice facility, whether it be a game type facility, it is going to be a really nice space for kids, regardless. For the Connect students that get to use it during the day, for the baseball program that may get to use it in the afternoons, and for games, it really is going to be a nice green space. And we just have to figure out some of the challenges, to get to that. So, good meeting yesterday. Look forward to more conversation about that and being able to bring to this board potentially a recommendation moving forward. So thank you for your all commitment to that as well, and certainly looking forward to get moving on that project. Also, Matt and the Da Vinci Schools Fund did invite myself and Nisha, Maggie to a career connected learning exploration trip. Taking a look at 5 or 6 schools in New Orleans, which is a real hub and a center for career-connected learning. And again, Matt being very generous in funding the trip for us and allowing us to kind of tag along with the team. And it's really, really important now because the state is finally starting to look at career-connected learning as more central to the middle school. We're not quite sure how that's gonna roll out, but it's certainly something that's being talked about more. So excited to see explore some of these opportunities and really start talking about some of those connections to the pathways at Da Vinci. Also, thank you to Monique for really spearheading and leading the tour programs that we've put on. I mean, there were 100. It felt like 100 people today at the Holly Glen tour. I think they said there were 70 or something. But I said, who's counting? No, but it really was. Yeah, Monique. But we've never seen a tour that large. I mean, that was a really large tour. Maybe it's because we had caps on them in the past, and we may want to go back to that. Now we may want to go back to that. Just kidding. But no, we did have these large turnout, and it was really nice to see the families super engaged. Our teachers always, I mean, they're the selling point, and it still remains to be remains. Our families are really. They're always so complimentary of our teachers in the classroom, and our students, how well behaved our students are, and just how nice our students are, and how happy our students are. So I think that that's something to note as well. I mean, it's just a really nice experience. So thank you for that. I mean, this is a really important initiative, that we've continued to grow over the last several years, and so excited for that. Also, I just want to say that this month of January is School Board Appreciation Month. And I just say, for me and for the team, we couldn't work with a group of better trustees, and you all keep us honest and ask us good questions, and all of those questions make us think prior to the meeting so that we can really try and answer some of those questions before that. And in a couple months, I'll be finishing my 7th year as superintendent here and I think 17th in the district. And, I mean, the board has always been a symbol of of stability, of good stewardship. And all five of you, continue to do that and really appreciate you challenging us, to be as good as we can be and to bring forth the best recommendations we can. And, I think I'd be remiss to not say, thank you and, really appreciate all the work that you do.
All right, we're going to go ahead and continue on with our agenda on section 8, public comment. Wendy, do we have any comments on items on the agenda from the public?
I have no comment.
Right, having none, we're going to continue on to section 9, which is consent items. Is there a motion to approve item 9.1, which would encompass 9.2 through 9:15?
You have a motion.
Motion from Nelson,
Second.
I have a comment.
second from Rebecca. Neil?
Just an observation on 9.9. We increased the district mileage rate, assuming we approve this. On 9.12, we're referencing the old rate. So we would need to update that to the new rate. It's obvious we couldn't do it before we did that, but that needs to be done as a result of this.
So yeah, once the mileage rate is approved at 70 cents per mile, that will be the rate that we reimburse going forward.
So it's not
Absolutely.
retroactive to these. Is that what, right?
Are these ratified or are these moving forward?
These are some are ratified actually.
But
Yeah.
whatever they are,
Yes, we get it.
we get it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just observation.
Have a motion and a second. All those in favor? Aye. Motion carries 5-0. Section 10 is action items. Go ahead and take these one at a time. Item 10.1 is to approve the 2024 School Accountability Report Cards, or the SAC. Is there a motion?
You have a motion with a comment.
And a second.
Nelson, Neil? Nelson?
Yeah, I guess you have a comment, it's more of a question. So, in reviewing this art, particularly at Holly Glen, I think it was. No, Holly Glen and Taylor, sorry, Holly Glen and Taylor, the K seems to be, is there a problem with K? Because, and then in student enrollment, then when we go to first grade, there's a drop. So are we expecting an increase in the first grade next year? Take a look at the SART for the kindergarten enrollment for both Holly Glen and Del Air. Am I misreading that?
I don't remember that particular item.
Yeah, but they're gonna move to first grade and it seems like. I think it's. I've got to pull them up.
This was actually, these numbers are from last school year. It's
Okay.
2023-24 enrollment, so it is the combination of the TKK.
Okay, so
So-
that's, because like it was
Because
all
it-
wrapped in a case, so I was like, we might have an issue
Right.
with.
Right,
Okay.
so when it's fully universal, I'm assuming we will see a change in that, like we'll actually have a TK up there.
Okay.
To show how they're then gonna progress to kindergarten to help us with planning. Good question.
Okay, thank you, that clarifies, I didn't realize
Yeah.
that it said K. and then I
Right.
didn't realize- yeah.
And we'd be feeling it now.
Yeah, yeah.
They'd be already.
Yeah.
There was one other observation I noticed about chronic absence. I think the numbers were small, but the highest percentage was our English language learners. And that struck me as curious.
Yeah, and that's something that we spoke about at DLOC and all of our ELOCs that we've been really hitting home with, the importance of that, ensuring that maybe we are having individualized like conversations around what our calendars are, to ensure that our students are coming. This is a kind of pandemic more or less at the whole state level for our learners, because, sometimes they do have to travel farther in the school to go back to their home countries. And so it's something that we are continually working on.
This is understood though.
Yes, it's
And
understood.
you're aware.
Yes,
Thank you.
we are fully aware.
Just, my comment was, man, thank you to, everybody involved in developing this. I know it's a lot of work, but it's a lot of good information, particularly when it interrupts. Really quickly summarizes things.
Right.
Thank you.
I would just add too, I know Rebecca had pointed out, she reached out, I guess, a couple days ago, and there was an issue with one of the reports. You actually have to have a check. It's not super user friendly in DTS. It's our document tracking system. So there wasn't a facilities, a fit report in the SARCs. The SARCs have been updated. There is a fit report. All of our sites are deemed good. And there's certain criteria. You look at certain things. I mean, I know some sites need more than others. And of course, we're addressing some of that in our facilities upgrades, right? But overall, in terms of the overall safety of our reports, the new SARCs, the updated SARCs do have a fit report in them. They are all deemed good. And I don't know if either of you had anything else to add to that. I just wanted to point that out. Thanks, Rebecca,
Just a comment. I was thrilled to see the fit reports. I just found them, I feel like there could be a whole lot more detail. They seem so high level that I'm not sure they were all that, for me, they lack some meaning.
And those are just, that's the format.
Yeah, that's the purpose. We don't make, we're.
It is what it is.
Yeah.
Okay, I have a motion from Nelson and a second from Neil. All those in favor? Aye. Motion carries 5-0. Item 10.2 is approved settlement agreement for OAH case number 2024110729. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Michelle. A second?
Second.
Second from Rebecca. Any questions? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 5-0. Item 10.3 is adopt resolution number 24/25.25, authorizing the implementation of board member compensation. Is there a motion?
I'll second.
Nelson. Any comments or questions?
I have I just want to clarify the two items that you will see two items before you have the first, which is the resolution, basically authorizing the board to be allowed to basically direct us to pay, to pay the stipend. And then the second one is the board policy. So once these are all complete, then it would happen. Unfortunately, there's the two meeting requirement for the reading of bylaws or changing of bylaws and board policies. So this is number one.
I'm gonna amend my motion to include both 10.3 and 10.4. Because they go together.
Do you have a second from Nelson? To do both together? I'm fine with that as well. I do have a comment.
I do too. Go ahead, Roger.
Okay. On this particular item, I've actually always been of the belief that financial resources are different for different board members or people in our community, and that a constraint to serving on the board should, in terms of a financial constraint, really should not be a deterrent or a barrier for someone that's looking to serve on this board. If you are fortunate enough to not need the compensation, then that's fantastic. If you do need it, I think this is one item that could help and support to get more people involved in our community to provide a service. This is a very modest stipend that is presented, and it's based on statute in the education code. This is not a number that this board came up with. This is a number that is shared amongst all school districts pretty much in the state of California for districts that are from, I believe this is 1,000 to 10,000 students in terms of their ADA. So this is not unique to Weisburn. We wouldn't be approving or doing something here that is only Weisburn. In fact, we're probably one of the very few in the state of California that has not had this. So I think there is an opportunity here to look at something to provide for some compensation for those members that are on the board that may want to take it. It's not, obviously it's not mandatory. It's not an obligatory. It's, if you look at our action item, it's board members may take the item. So I wanted to just make that as a comment because I would, moving forward into the future, I think this could remove a barrier for people looking to serve on a board. So turn that over to you, Neil.
Well said.
Ditto.
Well said.
Oh, excellent, great. With that, then I will call the question. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. Item 10.5 is approved Weisburn Faculty Association tentative agreement for 24-25.
You have a motion?
Motion from Neil,
Second.
second from Nelson. Any comments or questions?
Thank you for the collaboration.
Yes, thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you. With that, I'll just go ahead and call the question again. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 5-0. Excellent. Item
Move 10, 6, and 7 together.
10.6 and 10.7, I'll just go ahead and read them. 10.6 is approved salary increase for non-representative certificated employees. And 10.7 is approved salary increase, non-represented classified employees. I have a motion from Neil for 10.6 and 10.7.
Second.
Second from Nelson. Any comments, questions? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 5-0.
Roger, if I may, I also was pleased to see that our salaries exceeds that which of the state at all levels, and was pleased with it.
Thank you, Neil. Our next section is under fiscal. First item is number 11.1 is to receive the audit report. Is there a motion to receive the report?
Yeah, motion.
Second.
Motion from Nelson, second from Rebecca. Any questions or comments?
One comment that's kind of amusing. I looked on the front of it, and the logo is our old logo. And then I entered the boardroom, and I noticed that our logo is our old logo. So,
I could speak to this.
okay. I was gonna suggest that we let
That
that.
we do that, yeah, okay. So we are looking at some comprehensive, we actually, had a meeting with Noemi earlier today. Over the time, we've had several meetings, but we talked about it specifically today. We are planning to have all of the signage around our district, obviously that we changed when we renamed schools, dealt with this summer. That would also include, the signage here. It would also include in the front of the school district. We do have a couple places where the old logo, still exists, as well as, Dr. Goldman, we had talked about the pillars in our strategic foundation. Had a meeting yesterday with our designer. It's coming along quite nice. And so, it's big, there's a lot. And so we're just trying to figure out how it all fits and condensing it and making it meaningful. So that is kind of all part of the comprehensive, signage upgrade, which we're looking to do in the summer.
Great. No more questions. Go ahead and call the question as well, but all those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries 5-0. Item 11.2 is approve additional funds for cross-country education. Is there a motion?
Moved.
Motion from Michelle. Second from Rebecca. Question?
Yeah. I'm just curious, it says that we're gonna be charging this to the special education program, which I know we already have like high costs coming out of. So is there a particular reason why this program, is it because it's for the special needs students only?
Yes, this is currently someone that we're contracting with to cover our maternity leave for one of our speech pathologists, and that's has been extended through the remainder of the school year, so we needed to provide funding for that.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 5-0. All right, upcoming dates and events. See, the first item here is holiday, Martin Luther King Jr.'s birthday on Monday, January 20th. And we also have Great Kindness Challenge. That's on Monday, January 27th through Friday, January 31st. And then our next board meeting is February 13th on a Thursday. Any other items, Blake?
No, I mean, I think there's a couple, trips coming up. I said we'll be in Northern. But no, I'm excited about that, and we'll move into February, and it's just right around the corner. It's just unbelievable how quick this goes.
There's a middle school tour. Did you mention that
Middle
right
school
on
tour.
January 23rd?
Thursday at 9.
160 people.
Yeah, just about, yeah, really like 140 people.
Wow.
I mean, whether they show is one thing, right? But the numbers of that.
Something I should have asked earlier, forgive me, is profile of a learner construct. How are we doing on that?
That's a good question. That has gone a bit, not that it's gone, we need to reconnect on that. So I wish I had a better answer for you. I think it's just got a little bit away from us. I will circle back with Matt on that. It's not gone, it's just not.
Well, hey, thanks. No, that's what I'm trying to bring us back. Thank you.
Right, that concludes our meeting. I'd just like to say thank you all for your investment of time and care for all of our students. Thank you. Is there a motion to adjourn? Motion for Nelson, a second? Second, all those in favor?
All right.
Thank you. Motion carries 5-0. Have a good evening.